Do you want unconditional love? Do you want to be unconditionally accepted and appreciated for who you are? Isn't that what we all really want? But what is that? So where are you now? It might be maybe that you are trying to find your place in the world, a place where you truly fit in, where you belong. Perhaps you feel like there's something missing and you're searching for this thing, but you're not even sure what that is. And you may have gone looking for it in various different places, be it your job, your relationships, your children, your partner, your home, but yet you still haven't found this missing thing. And potentially, this is having an effect on your health. It might be that you are suffering low moods, low energy. Perhaps you suffer with anxiety and you worry about things that have yet to happen and think the worst case scenario. Maybe you use food, alcohol, drugs, or something to take you out of this feeling of something being missing, almost escaping yourself and escaping your emotions because you don't want to feel them. You don't know what to do with them. And so you hide in the food and the alcohol, or you may hide in your job. You find yourself contracting away from the world, but this is having an effect on your health. It may actually be part of the cause as to why you are comfort eating, which is they're making you put on weight. By putting on weight and having this body that you feel trapped in, but yet again not knowing quite how to get out of it, but it leaves you with this feeling again that you don't belong. Perhaps it's having an effect on your relationships. Perhaps you find yourself untrusting of others. Someone gives you a compliment and you ask why are they saying that? You look at your partner and you question whether they really do love you, whether they really do appreciate you. You look at your children even and think that they take you for granted. And you find yourself doing more and more and more to try and almost prove your worthiness to all of these people in your life that you love. But you're not convinced that they do really love you. You're not convinced that they do really appreciate you and accept all these things that you do for them, because you find you put them first before and above yourself. Maybe you look at your bank account at the end of every month and you find that you only have just enough to get by and you struggle with the money, and it's as if this money is external proof that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy of having a rich, abundant life where you can just do what you want to do when you want to do it. So if this is where you are, where would you like to be? So imagine that you are happy and content and at peace with yourself. You fully accept who you are. All the flaws, the imperfections, but also the strengths, the love, the compassion, and the kindness that you have within you, that you have actually connected to yourself. And you love the person that you are unconditionally, and that you are actually able to give yourself that unconditional love that you've been looking for. Visualize your health, where you now are in a position to make much better choices for yourself. You look after your body, you value it, and you appreciate it. You appreciate all the things that it can do. You now find yourself feeling younger than you have in years, having more energy than you've had in years, and appreciating all the things, no matter how small, that your body can do and that your body allows you to do. Even something as simple as just going for a walk. Appreciating at one point you did not know how to walk, but here you are now being able to walk. You no longer take such a small thing for granted. Visualize from this connection to yourself that now when you look at others, you can see how much they value you, how much they appreciate you. That doesn't stop them getting frustrated with you, but however, you are able to see past their behavior and to understand that it isn't personal about you. They are not telling you that you are not good enough. They are just venting a frustration within themselves. And now you find your connections are so much stronger, that you can actually truly accept those people that you love in your life. And you love them unconditionally. But you also love yourself unconditionally. Imagine looking at your bank account. Picture a time that you look at your account, and no matter how small the amount is that seems to be in there, you are grateful that you still have enough in there that is providing you with everything that you need. Your worth is no longer tied to your bank account. You do not look at that amount of money and think that that defines who you are. And you also know that you have the ability to be able to make more money. It is within you to make a difference to that bank account, to give yourself the things that you would love to have, to do the things that you would love to do. So if this is where you are, and this is where you would love to be, how will you get there? I believe you will get there by reconnecting with yourself. So what do I mean by that? Quite often we have emotions that are tied to events in our past, and we've given these emotions and these events meanings that are proof of us not being enough. And from this place of not being enough, it then drives our decisions. It drives our our actions, and it drives the reflection as to what we see is our life. So why is this important? Because coming from this place where you don't feel like you are good enough, coming from this place where you feel like you have to prove yourself, not only to others, but also to yourself, is having a detrimental effect on your health, on your mental health. And our health service, I believe, not only up and down the UK, but worldwide, is broken. Oftentimes, the health service only put plasters over the effects and don't really get to the root cause of what is actually causing these mental health issues or physical issues that you may be experiencing, whether that be weight loss, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems, cancers. They are all driven, I believe, by these negative emotions, these negative feelings. And here's the thing. You do deserve to have the life that you would love to have. But the question is, are you willing to give that to yourself? So why now? You've been searching for this missing thing for maybe absolute years, 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to always get what you've always got. So how long do you want to keep doing what you've always done and expecting different results? How quickly has the last 20, 30 years gone past in your life? Do you remember being 18 and the world was your oyster? How many years ago was that? How quickly has that time gone past? You are not getting any younger. And we have this mindset that the older we get, the more difficult things become. And if you've been living from a set of beliefs of not being enough, how embedded are they? And if you leave it for another 20 years, how much more embedded are those things going to be? We've all been taught that time is scarce. It is a scarce resource. I don't have enough time. But here's the thing. Does time really exist? What if you realized you have enough time? You can make time for others. So why not make time for yourself? Why not give yourself this gift of actually transforming your life and you, who you believe that you are? Would you love to be somebody that is confident, that is self-assured, that appreciates their own worth, irrelevant of what other people may think or what other people may say? So how long should you wait to give yourself that gift if that is what you truly want? So why listen to me? It is October of 2009. I am sat in my front room at the dinner table. We haven't moved into our flat for very long, but me and my fiance have managed to make this a home. As I sit there, he is pacing up and down the front room, so much so that he's almost wearing a hole in the carpet. And I can see that he is suffering and that he is in torment. And I'm trying to reach out to him, but he's not hearing my words. He turns to me. I don't know how I feel about you. I catch my breath. What do you mean? I don't understand. I just don't understand. I don't know how I feel about you. If I'd have never have left my wife, all these things that are happening now, they wouldn't be happening. My son wouldn't be in the situation he's in. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about you. In that single moment, fear and panic consumed me. The fear of losing the very thing that I depended on for my survival started crumbling around my ears, and I was holding on for dear life. I stopped eating. I couldn't sleep. Suddenly started behaving frantically. And as much as I tried to convince him that we could get through it, the more I tried to convince him, the further away he seemed to get. The day eventually came when I left my home. I was falling down an abyss that seemed to have no bottom. The floor had completely gone from underneath me. Absolutely nothing was certain. And I questioned myself, what could I do different? What could I have said different? How have I made this happen? What have I done wrong? The bottom line was that I came to the conclusion that there was something wrong with me. There was something fundamentally wrong with me. Relationships had been my Achilles heel forever. And this was the one. And still, despite trying to do everything different to how I'd done it before, I've still ended up in exactly the same place. I've ended up back on my own again. What could I have done different? The pain, the physical and the emotional pain was unbearable. And as a way of dealing with it, I turned to alcohol and I turned to drugs. I turned my mind anywhere to try and get away from these feelings. I was almost at the point that I was going to lose my job because I just couldn't function mentally. I couldn't hold it all together. Everything was just crumbling. And I was terrified of where it was going to end. Have you ever been in a situation like that? What was your coping mechanisms to get through it? I now bring you to the 21st of August, 2018. I'm on Armere Bay in Malta. It is 100 degrees The sun is beaming. The sky is beautiful and clear. There is a lovely cool breeze that is coming off of the water. And I look at the children that are playing and laughing and splashing with their parents in the water. I look at them and I smile, and it takes me back to when that was me in that very spot. But it's a far cry from where I am today. I've taken the courage to step into a new relationship. But whilst being in this relationship, I still have the same walls up, following the pain of the loss of the previous one. The boyfriend that I am with, I know that he's not right for me. But however, having him is better than being on my own. And my dad keeps telling me, I'm so glad that you're with someone. I thought you'd never be with anyone ever again. But deep down, I know it's wrong. And I actually don't want to be on this holiday, because I know that I'm going to be torn between these two men. And it's already started happening, and we're only 2 days in. How long are you going to be angry with me, Nikki? Do you know what? I can't even begin to tell you how angry I am with you. You had no right to have a go at him. None whatsoever. You made him cry. You made him get so upset. He's there apologising that he's ruining my holiday. He isn't the one that's ruining my holiday. You are. I just want us to spend some time together, Nikki. Can you not understand that? I just want you to myself. I just want us to have a good time. I didn't know that you was going to have to be driving him everywhere, that his knees were so bad that he can't walk. I stand up. I don't want to deal with this conversation anymore. And I head off into the sea. I allow the warmth of the water to envelope my body and feel the sun beaming through the water and warming every part of me, apart from on the inside. Why did I come on this holiday? Why? You knew this is how it was going to be. I don't like these thoughts that are reverberating around my head either. So I decide to get back out of the water. As I approach the beds, I can see that Dad is missing. Where is he? I don't know. I wasn't taking any notice. I think he's gone in the water. I think he went in after you. I don't know. I don't know where he's gone. As I turn to search him out, I see a commotion at the corner of my eye. Someone being dragged from out of the water. Please God, no. Please God, no. Somehow my legs make it over to the commotion. They're like jelly. When I get there, my worst fear has come true. Please, Dad. Please. No, no. The holiday makers form a circle around us and stop doing CPR. And I can almost hear the crack of his ribs as they put their weight on his chest. Please, Dad, please wake up. Please don't leave me. Please, please. for what seemed like an eternity, I see someone dressed in green coming towards me. What has happened? We pulled him out of the water. We've been doing CPR for 17 minutes. I know that he's gone, but I don't want to accept it. When we let go of things that happen in our past, or does the past define us? Fast forward to November 2022. I've just found out that a childhood friend that I grew up with died today. He went to bed and he just didn't wake up. And as I reflect on the fact that I only saw him on Monday and he was larger than life and he was laughing and we were talking, and now he's just not here. And I must be a pretty slow learner, because it takes for me to realise that life is short. And as I look back on my life and how unhappy that I have been, I make the decision that I'm going to be happy. I don't quite know how, but I'm going to be happy. I'm going to start living the life that I want. I scour the internet for everything, personal development. And as I'm watching and learning about psychology and our beliefs and meanings that we give to things and all of these things, I come across a course. It's for 7 weeks. She's asking, do you feel like there's something missing? Yes, there is. There's something missing. What is it? And as I embark on this course, what I learned was to how to actually connect with myself. I learned that I had been coming from a belief of not being good enough. And once I realized that that was the driving force of every decision that I'd ever made, but I also realized how untrue that was. And from this place of actually connecting with myself, of gently getting in touch with those emotions of past events, but without having to go into them, I found the missing piece. And what had been missing was me. And from here, of learning and actually learning how to love myself, learning how to trust myself, learning what my strengths were, and then actually in a position then to be able to look back and to realize that all of these things, all of these bad things actually gave me so much strength to be stood here today. And then I had this overwhelming desire and passion in me to help other people, because it can't just be me. And then as I stepped into a coaching business, my own business, something I never thought would be possible, but driven from a desire to help and support other people. It became so clear that there are so many of us that are living from this same space, and realizing that how these negative beliefs and these difficult emotions that we often try and run from have a profound impact on our physical health. How through my job in the hospital, seeing so many patients that are on anti-anxiety, antidepressants, that mental health is at an all-time high, because so many people are driven with fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of what's going to happen, fear of what can go wrong. And it's predominantly all looking back at past events and almost believing, well, because it happened then, it's going to happen again. And that is so often not true. So I asked you, what is unconditional love, acceptance, and appreciation? That is a feeling. And we oftentimes go looking for it externally. We look for it in our jobs. We look for it in our relationships. We look for it in consumerism, in the things that we own. But here's what I know to be true, that you will only find that within yourself. When you look inwards, when you go inside and you change your view of you and who you are, and you accept all of the parts of you, even those parts where you may also have gone down a deep, dark hole, but appreciating that hole because of the strengths that it gave you. That is where you get the unconditional love, acceptance, and appreciation that you have been looking for. And when you give it to yourself, it then reflects in everything that you do. So how can you also have this too? So through the different clients that I've worked with, Manjit was one of my very, very first clients. And on going into the very first meeting with her, she was so angry. She was so frustrated. Her mum had suffered with her mental health ever since she was a small child. And Manjit, unfortunately, then had to take on the responsibility of being the parent to her younger siblings, of looking out for them, but also looking out for mum. And for Manjit, this became her whole identity. Her identity was in keeping everybody else safe and keeping everybody else happy. And if she could keep all of them safe and happy, well, then she could keep herself safe and happy. But in recent years, what happened is Manjit's family were turning towards her and they were asking her to put her focus on herself. But what this did is make Manjit really, really angry with them, because the way that Manjit saw it, they were trying to take away her identity. They was trying to take away her purpose. And by doing that, what they were saying is that they didn't love her. They didn't want her around. The real truth was completely the opposite. It was their love of her as to why they wanted her to put herself first. They could see that she'd always put them first. Now, what I did with Magic is I took her through the Arise blueprint, the blueprint that I myself took myself through. And in taking Magic through this program, she then gained the awareness. She reconnected with herself and seeing herself as so much more than just being there for other people, where she finally put her own happiness first, where she realized that it was her family's love for her, their unconditional love, acceptance, and appreciation that made them want much more for her than she was giving herself. When she was able to give herself the gift of going through that process, she was then able to transform her belief in herself. From doing that, her connections to her family were then so much stronger. They were what she had been longing for, that connection. She was able to reconnect with her boyfriend so much more, so completely different in a way she had before. Every time he tried to do something nice for her before, she literally was screaming at him, "Why has it taken you this long?" Instead of just being appreciative in the moment. So much so that they are now engaged to be married. And what Magic has tried to do, or what Magic is doing with her transformation, is very similar to me, insofar as she now is learning to help others where they have also been affected by the mental health of their parents. I come to my second client, Nathan. Now, he too had lived most of his 53 years of believing that he wasn't good enough, of looking in places for that validation, looking externally. And the only place that he found that validation for him was in his work as a carpenter. That is where he had his pride. That is where he had his strength. He had a previous relationship where he had 2 children. The relationship failed. In the failing of the relationship, his ex-partner made it so difficult for him to see his children. It impacted on his relationship with them, that made him so bitter and angry towards their mum. Why was she doing this? For Nathan, it was exactly the same thing as with Magic. After connecting to himself, bringing his strengths in his carpentry work, in his carpentry job, realizing that actually he could be decisive, he was strong, he had abilities to make things that other people couldn't make. And by bringing that strength, and then with this empowered self, looking back at his younger self and actually facing into those emotions that had been driven by past events, he too then transformed his relationship with himself. He then learned to actually love the person that is looking in the mirror every morning back at him. Through this transformation of his relationship with himself, of finding unconditional love for himself, despite the things that he'd done in life that he maybe was less proud of, that he had wished that maybe he'd done different. And what happened for Nathan is that this rebirth of who he was led him to start drawing. So where is Nathan now? Nathan he is creating his own website to actually sell his art. It is his art that I use within my Arise blueprint. They are only done out of pencil and they are fantastic. But with every single picture that he does, and still to this day, it keeps enforcing his strengths, his talents, his skills, and his gifts. So you may be wondering, what might it be like to work with me, and what might it be like for you too to actually reconnect with yourself? The transformation may very well look like positive thinking. To people on the outside, they will see this change and think, right, you're just thinking positively. But it isn't just positive thinking, it's a complete change of perception. It's a complete different way of looking at yourself, of looking at others, of the world at large. Quite often people have a thought that they understand that it is things in the past that are keeping them stuck, that are keeping them in a place where they can't move forward. And through going through the Arise blueprint, this is not about digging up the past. This is not about going back to relive those moments. But what it is accepting and allowing the emotions that you felt from any one of those events. Now, that isn't to say the event will come up, but the emotion will generally come up first. By actually almost asking your inner child, what is it that you're feeling? What is it that you need? And giving yourself the safe space, almost a growth container, if you will, to be able to have this journey of self-reflection and self-growth, to find yourself, to love that person, all of that person, in all of the years that it's taken to get to here. And on the other side of that is this feeling of being whole, of being complete, of belonging. It's also a place of trust, complete trust in yourself, where you have a knowing, a complete belief in every cell in your body that no matter what life throws at you, you know that you can survive it. You know that you can get through it. You know that you have the strengths. You have these things in your past to prove that you have actually got to where you are today, despite all of those things. And a knowing that no matter what comes in the future, that you've got your own back. You have the skills and the knowledge to be able to deal with it. And when you know that, the anxieties and the fears all subside because there's no longer anything to fear. From this place, you will notice physical changes within your body. You will notice yourself feeling, excuse me, feeling younger, feeling more energized, feeling more positive. And when you are living in these emotions, it is so much easier to take inspired action to actually start creating the life that you want. Once you love yourself and you accept yourself unconditionally, this has a profound effect on your relationships. When you trust yourself, you can then reflect that outwards and start trusting other people. You're also able to put boundaries in place that you know what you need, you know what you want. And if either someone or if a situation is not giving you what you want and what you need, it then allows you the power to walk away from that situation or to walk away from that person, not with anger, not with bitterness, but just understanding that this situation is not good for me. This situation is not healthy for me. And you start stepping into a life that you are actually loving, a life that you are enjoying, of doing the things every single day that you get enjoyment from, of prioritizing yourself, prioritizing what your needs are, and from filling your own cup, of giving yourself what you need. Believe it or not, this actually allows you to give so much more to others. So what is the Arise Blueprint? So the A is for awareness. This is the very start of the journey, to be aware of your emotions, to be aware of how your thoughts are shaping your reality, of reflecting back and realizing what it was that was the driving force that led you to make the decisions that you did. But not from a place of judgment, from a place of love and compassion for that younger version of you that didn't know any other way. It didn't realize that there were choices. It didn't realize that there were other options. The second part is to reframe and release those events in the past, to make peace with them, that they no longer can harm you, that they no longer can keep you suffering, and to look back and maybe, just like I did, actually almost being grateful for all of the things that have happened in my life that were not enjoyable experiences, because I understand how every single one of them has shaped where I am today. And where I am today is able to use those experiences to empathize with other people, to give people a place where they are not judged, where they are free to be themselves, where they are free to connect with themselves, and it's safe. Had I not been through those things, I wouldn't have learned all of those skills. Through not being given that space myself, I would never have learned how to give you the space to have what you want. The I in Arise is about identity. Because so often, and I found this myself, is these thoughts of I can never have a loving, happy, healthy relationship. I've tried every single way, but I can't have it because that isn't who I am. The moment we start saying I can never, I can't, this always happens, it always goes wrong. What happens is we actually are telling ourselves anyway in that we're not good enough. And we are also closing our mind to what opportunities might be out there that we wouldn't even see because that's not where our head is. So through this program, you are going to upgrade your identity to step into the person that you would love to be, the real, true, authentic you that has actually been inside all along. But that you that you've almost been afraid to let out because of fear of judgment, of other people looking at you and questioning. A you that can actually make your own rules, that lives your life on your terms, that you know exactly who you are, you know what you can do. From stepping into this new identity, this new you, whether it be this healthy you, this strong you, this confident you, you can then start to shift the patterns that have held you stuck before. Hence the S in Arise is about shifting those patterns, about doing things. Now, this is going to stretch you. This is going to take you outside of your comfort zone. But this is not something to be feared. Whilst there will be elements of doubt, but there is also excitement. And this is where the real growth comes. The real growth of you, the real growth of your life, the real transformational changes that you look at and think, oh my God, I never ever would have believed that this is possible. And then being so grateful. And once you realize what those shifts have now created, that you can then keep going forward and making more shifts. And every time that something comes up that maybe you're doubtful of stepping into, because of your awarenesses, because of the program, you know that you can start asking yourself the questions already. What is it? What is it that I am believing? And the chances are that whatever it is that you're believing that's keeping you stuck just simply isn't true. And then the E is about embodiment, embodying that healthy, vital, energetic, happy, content, peaceful you. And this is where you just are. There is no more trying. It just is you. It just is who you are now. And then you can continue on that journey of evolving your life and having the relationships that you want, the career that you want, the money that you want, maybe stepping into your purpose. Maybe you also could then, who could you help? Who could you impact? As a parent, what beliefs might you have passed down to your children from this younger you, from this younger set of beliefs, this younger set of conditioning? And now you are able to impact on your children and make real profound changes in their life, or at least show them the way to make those changes for themselves. What legacy could you leave? As a grandparent, what could you do different with your grandchildren that you didn't maybe do with your children? There is an absolute world of possibilities out there. And once you go through this journey into yourself, to go inwards, to go within, to awaken that part of you, to connect with that part of you, to bring your younger and your older versions together, what you deem as your weaknesses with your strengths, and then see where joining them two in a completely unconditional love, acceptance and appreciation relationship, the possibilities are endless. So are you ready for those possibilities? Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone? Are you ready to give yourself the gift of having the life that you want, of having the love, the unconditional love and acceptance that you want? When you have it within you, when you give that to yourself, you no longer need that external validation. You realize the only validation that you need, the only belief that you need, is in yourself. So how do you sign up to the Arise Blueprint? I have left my email. There is a link with my email. So do please feel free to reach out by email, or you may want to connect to me on Facebook, because I have various different courses that you can join, because I want to make this available to everybody, that they can start making the changes, no matter how small, to start actually living the life that they want, and to stop the pain and the suffering that they have been living in, which ultimately is my mission. My mission is to help, support and guide others to a place where they are no longer suffering. They are no longer suffering with their mental health, and they are no longer suffering with their physical health. Because here's what I believe, and that is that health is our wealth. Without health, what do we have? If we have poor health, what things does it stop us from doing? So the healthier that we are inside and outside, then we at least give ourselves every opportunity else in our life that will only enrich who we already are. that will enrich what we already have. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you hopefully in the very near future.